I want to talk about DLC2 Legend of the Stone Demon for Borderlands 4, and this is going to be entirely unscripted, so things might be all over the place, and I do apologise for that. But I want to talk about a couple of things, and I'm going to get into Pearls, and that's what the main rant of this video is going to be about in a minute. But what I want to talk about is the DLC itself first. Now, I didn't mind this DLC. I like that it has significantly more content compared to the Mercenary Day one, specifically in the fact that you have more bosses, what means in total more loot, what means more stuff to do, and it's pretty fun. I mean, it's around about the same length if you are just going from start to finish, I won't lie. However, the additional bits of DLC are quite nice to just like stack on top of it, and on top of that, they did add actual stuff to the world as well in the Ordinate processes. That is something you can just actively do while you're playing, what is another thing that I really like, and I hope that maybe they do more, maybe like more, or add a couple things like permanent markers for them on the map. However, I did find during my first playthrough, I didn't find all of these bosses, that's kind of whatever, but during my second one I did, and I've actually got some pretty cool legendary loot from them, including a couple of the weapons, well, only a couple of the weapons I should say, and I've been having a little bit of fun with them, although the disc jockey is rather odd in my opinion, because I think that gun used to fire discs in the pre-sequel, and here we are, just fires bullets. I got the Doer as well, that is also, or the Doer, I think, one of the two, that is also a pretty fun gun. However, I got a COV mag on it, so it does get overheated, what is quite negative in my opinion, but that is just like my RNG. And then I can't remember what the gun is called, but it's basically like the Sandhawk, kind of like a TK's Wave. I got that from the actual Stone Demon at the end of the DLC. That is a very fun gun to use, especially on Harlow. So my general view on the weaponry so far is pretty good. Same with the Vault card. Again, I'm not a big fan of Vault cards personally, but I'll take them. It's whatever. And it kind of segues into the point I want to talk about with Pearls and Vault cards in general. And the Vault card part is going to be significantly shorter because it's just about legendaries, and I feel like you can get a legendary at any point in these games. You know, it's something that you can get at any point. So with the Vault cards, they are per character as far as I'm aware. For the legendaries at least, and you can get 4 of them in each of them, 3 guns and 1 grenade, and this is something that I'm not too bothered about. It's just, I guess it's a nice little pick-me-up when you start your character. However, it's going to be quite annoying when I'm level 6 and I could potentially already have one of the better weapons of the game. I haven't played with them all, so I wouldn't really know, but you get my point. My point, what I really want to make about this, though, and the entire point of the title and the thumbnail and everything of this video, is how this DLC kind of feels like a 2-step forward, 3 steps back. Like, it's a good bit of DLC they've added, a fun activity they've added. However, they've added possibly kind of one of the worst changes, sorry about the bike in the background, and one of the things that I fucking hate the most about this game currently, and I really hope they revert this, is a guaranteed 100% chance to get a Pearlescent. Now, if you're not familiar with Pearlescents or very familiar with them throughout Borderlands history, they've only been in 2 games before Borderlands 4, what was Borderlands 1 and Borderlands 2. And the entire point of Pearlescent Rarity, in my opinion, in my humble opinion, is that they have an extremely low drop chance, and they are extremely fun and/or extremely good and strong to use. And I will say the Borderlands 2 ones were, as we all know, not the best, and the Borderlands 1 ones were very fun and very strong and very good, you know. The pretty much gold standard what Pearlescence should be. However, the thing that is always tied to Pearlescence is absurd rarity. I'm talking like 1% or less rarity, at least in my mind. That's how I've always felt they should be, that's how I've always thought they should be, and that's how they should always be going forward. However, with this DLC, and granted you have to own the DLC for this to happen, so if you don't, congratulations, you miss out, but if you spend the tenner and you have this DLC, or if you bought the edition of Borderlands 4 that features it, you'll very quickly find out that during the first 10 minutes or so of this DLC, you actually get one of them, the aptly named hand cannon, for entirely free, for 100% guaranteed drop, for just completing the Ordinate processor within the DLC. Now, I have a big problem with this, and that is, again, mainly because I think, in my humble opinion, Pearlescent Rarity, the rarest rarity in Borderlands, should be rare. Now, sure, if you didn't want to go ahead and get that, or sure, if you didn't own the DLC, then sure, it's got a pretty low drop chance. I think at UVH6, I think it's about 1.8, or somewhere around there. That's good. I'm okay with that. However, one of them, as well, this is the most small thing that I'm going to tag on, the shotgun on UVH6 has I believe a 7.5 or 7.8, somewhere around there, drop chance. That is disgustingly high, and I seriously mean disgustingly high, and I really hope they lower that all the way down. Currently, as far as I'm aware, the only way to effectively farm / like get pearlescence is through the ordinate processes, what again, I'm not really a big fan of. I feel like they should be obtained at a very, very small chance from like loot enemies as well. Boss fights as well, like they should just kind of be a universal thing at an extremely low rate. However, if you want to try and target farm them, then sure, you can do ordinate processes. Again, that's something that I'm not really a big fan of, and that's kind of one of the things of that step back, is that there's an effective way to farm pearlescence I'm really not a fan of. Obviously, if you go to Borderlands 2, you have like loot midget farming, but that was so like specific and a random point in the fucking game that like realistically it was doing that unless you really, really want to grind it in like chaos levels and you're in Ultimate Vault Hunter and all that shit. But anyway, my point here and what I'm kind of coming around to and with is adding a rarity as rare and prestigious, whatever you want to say, as Pearlescent, and then guaranteeing it at a 100% drop chance, in my mind, now makes it as rare as running into a common. Or even shit, I would even say it makes it even easier to obtain it over a common or a green. Because let's say you want a green shotgun, you want a green Jacobs, okay? You're still going to have to kill a couple enemies, it might take 3 or 4 to get it. Or you might have to run this event, for example, or run an event, and you might not get it in your first couple runs, you know? That is a specific type of role. However, running the Ordinate Processor throughout the Cursed Mine mission, what is repeatable, by the way, grants you a 100% drop chance for this hand cannon Pearlescent. What means every single time that you run that Ordinate Processor in that mission, through the mission replay, you're going to get it every single time without fail. This is a massive, massive misstep in my opinion. You can't add something like Pearlescence that is like synonymous with rarity within Borderlands and then make it a 100% guarantee. Now, I was talking to one of my friends about this the other day, and we were talking about how, like, sure, it's not too bad, and sure, it's like a thank you for buying the DLC or whatever, but then you have other things in other games with other DLCs, especially Borderlands, that already have like a 100% drop chance that you still wait to do. And you still wait until later in the game. For example, you want to do it, you want to do it later in the game. You don't do it right off the bat of making a new character. Sorry about the bike once again. I live on a street with a lot of bikers. I was going to get very loud. He stopped around the corner. I do apologise for that. Beep beep. Anyway, the comparison that I made with my friend, once again, I'm really sorry about the bike. This is a horrible time to start recording, eh? The comparison that I made with my friend was the Pearl of Ineffable Knowledge from Borderlands 3. It's the one that came to my mind first, and it's the one I want to talk about. Now, sure, if you make a new character, you could immediately snap of your fingers, go run to that DLC, and grind through it and get it right off the bat, and sick, you have the Pearl for the rest of your playtime. Or if you have one in your vaults, I don't think it's actually level tied, you have one for the rest of your playtime. Sure, whatever. However, again, that incentivizes you, since it's not replayable, and unless you want to start a new game plus, such as True Vault Hunter, or whatever the fuck you want to call it in Borderlands 3, you have to then go ahead and do the whole DLC again. And it's not going to take you 10 minutes, it's going to probably take you a couple hours to get this one item that's going to boost your XP gain, I believe, by a good little amount, or loot rarity. I actually can't 100% remember what it is. But you're going to benefit from that, essentially. But because you can only get one of them in your playtime, you're probably going to do it later down the line. Or unless you want to do a whole entire new game plus, then sure you can, but that's still going to be you still have to be the whole game. My problem with Borderlands 4 guaranteeing it at a 100% chance is that this game has mission replayability. Now sure, if you got one, and it was literally just the one across all your characters, whatever. I'm still not a fan of it, but whatever. But having it at a mission replayability chance means you could start a level 1 character, go straight to this DLC, get it right off rip, and then complete the DLC and ignore it until you're like, I don't know, let's say you do it at level 5, you can then do it at level 10, because you can just do mission replay, and then level 15, level 20, etc, etc, etc. Essentially, you're going to permanently, on level, have a guaranteed Pearlescent. When, again, it is already meant to be the rarest shit in the game, and now it's guaranteed every single time you want it at any point in the game. I could go make a level 1 Amon right now, and I could go get it, and then later in, 2 weeks, for example, potentially, I mean, if they change this, then great, if they don't, but I could then go ahead and make a level 30 Rafa and go get it. I could then go ahead and make a level 30 Harlow and go get it. Oh, what's that? I haven't played for a little while, and the hand cannon got buffed. Oh, let me just go quickly redo mission replay and get a really, really good one, because it's only going to take 10 minutes, because the activity takes 2-3 minutes at most. And it's a 100% drop chance, so the chance of getting that god roll you're looking for is relatively high, because it's not like you have to get the weapon to drop in the first place and then get your god roll. You get the weapon to drop every single time, so you're just looking for the god roll. I really, really hate this approach, and it's something that I'm really, really hoping that they revert, because in my humble current opinion, this is going to absolutely butcher the entire point of Pearlescent, and it almost makes me afraid to go forward with other DLCs in this game to see if maybe they do other things. Maybe they introduce a newer rarity or bring back another one, like Seraph, but then it has a 100%, one of them has a 100% drop chance from this or that, or maybe they don't reintroduce them and just add 12 more Pearlescents, for example, but you can get 3 of them guaranteed by doing X, Y, and Z activity. My problem here is, and I know they did say on Twitter that it's meant to be you get the one as an introduction to the rarity, but you don't get that with legendaries, you don't get that with purples. I get it, sure, if you've never played a Borderlands game before and you don't know what the fuck Borderlands is, then it's nice to have an introduction to the rarity. I'm not gonna knock that. Whatever. But I'm not being funny, but 99% of people that are still currently playing Borderlands or logged in for this DLC know what they are, have played the games before, and are willing to go ahead and get them. I'm going to be as kind as I can here with Borderlands, because I do truly love this franchise, but it's not something that exactly holds players. It's not a COD. It's not a Fallout 76. It's not a live service, to put it bluntly. And because it has that old format of release game then release DLCs, it's going to always have that trickle of players who are going to come back to the game because there's these DLCs and these vault cards and all this new stuff and pearls and this, that, and the other raid bosses. But it isn't going to be a game that's going to have a spike in a year, but it's going to go near its peak, or it's not going to go from whatever it is now. I have no idea, so I'm just going to say 10, 15k players. It's not going to go from 15k players at the launch of a little DLC to 50k, 60k, 70k, is it? It's not I'm not being funny. Borderlands is a franchise that most people buy at launch and then buy over a lifetime. They're not going to buy it and then grind it 24/7. And that's me saying that as somebody who absolutely loves Borderlands. I'm not saying it should be a live service, for the record. I'm just stating facts. And my point here is, you're not really going to have a lot of new players who really necessarily care about what a Pearlescent is or not. Because I'm not being funny, I think there's going to be a lot more thrill and excitement if you're an entirely new player and you decide to just randomly boot up the game one day and you play for a couple hours with your friend, or you're playing through the DLC, or you're just grinding some bosses, trying to max out your loadout, whatever, or your inventory, or whatever the fuck you want to call it. And then out of nowhere, you get a cyan drop that has this crazy loud, awesome sound effect, and then when you go up to it, it's got that phosphine type effect, and it's got the star on your minimap and your compass, and you're like, what the fuck is this? I've never seen this. I've found 15 legendaries on my playthrough, I've picked up hundreds of blues and purples, but I've never seen this. What the fuck is this? And sure, you will get that with the DLC as your first approach, holy shit, I don't know what the fuck this is, but then you open Twitter or you go on YouTube and you find out, oh, I wonder what this blue rarity is. And then you find people talking about Pearlescents and you're like, oh, this is a Pearlescent. And now you found out that you can guarantee it up on 100% drop rate. And now you're just going to grind that 50 times until you have 50 of them in the perfect roll that you want. I would have preferred it to just kind of be wow, you open the game, you get one, you figure out what it is, you Google it, or you search it on YouTube, and you pop up with 10 different videos talking about how great these weapons are, or how rare they are, and shit. Because currently, if you want to go ahead and search about Pearlescents, and I'm adding this fuel to the fire, I won't lie, you're just going to have videos of people talking about how you can get them 100% guaranteed. Epic NG has a video talking about, his Pearlescent guide, and it's a good video. But right off the rip, what did he say in the first 2-3 minutes? You can get the hand cannon, the first pistol, guaranteed 100% of the time. Congratulations, that rarity, that scarcity, that excitement to look for something has gone right out the fucking window. Could you imagine how different it would be if you have an entirely new player who runs the DLC for the first time, out of sheer luck gets the hand cannon, and then looks online and sees that it's this super duper rare weapon? Could you imagine how insane that would be for them? Now they're just going to look online and see that everybody who's ever played that DLC has it. And they're going to be like, well, that's a bit shit. A part of the charm of Pearls is that not everybody's going to get them and not have one. And not everyone's going to unlock a hand cannon. And not everyone's going to unlock the Butcher. Not everyone's going to have all these stuff. And now, you do. Everybody who owns that DLC is going to have the hand cannon. everybody who touches that DLC is going to have the hand cannon. And yes, sure, if you don't own it, then you don't get it, but... like, who the fuck is... I'm not being funny, but who the fuck is playing base game Borderlands 4? And you know what, if you don't buy the DLC now, and you're going to be buying it in 2 months, 3 months, a year, whatever, then fucking power to you. I'm not knocking you at all, but just know that when you do play this DLC, you're going to have that weapon guaranteed. Anybody who ever picks up Borderlands 4 and does that DLC is going to have that weapon guaranteed. If they don't revert this, people in a year's time, 2 years, 3 years, whatever, when this game goes on like a crazy sale, let's say like 85%, 70%, and it's down to like less than £10. Somebody just picks up the game for like the Ultimate Edition and gets everything in the game, and then decides, oh, this thing looks interesting, Legend of the Stone Demon, I'm going to do that right now, and then you get that fucking Pearlescent, you're going to be like, what the fuck? What the fuck? Especially if you are a Borderlands player and you just picked up the game late or whatever, you're going to think, wow, this item is not rare at all. Because that's what I thought, and that's how I've been thinking the last few days. They've taken the rarity out of Pearlescence. Was something I really, really thought I'd never say about a Borderlands game that added Pearlescence. They've taken the rarity of Pearlescence out of it. And again, it just kind of leads back to what I said earlier, that, in my opinion, that hand cannon is now as common as a common weapon, as a blue tier weapon, as a purple tier shield. Even more common than those, because you can get it 100% of the guaranteed of the time. A part of the other thing, like, even something like the Echo 2 in Borderlands 3, the grenade, there was a little bit of charm when you randomly found that grey grenade on the floor and you're like, sick, Echo 2. That's a Borderlands 2 reference, first off, I believe. And second off, that's cool. I can shove that in my vault or put it on my wall or my in my home or your room, and you can forget about it. Are you gonna do that with a hand cannon in Borderlands 4? No, you're not, because you can guarantee 100% of them. So every single one of them that you pick up, you might go out of your way, you might go find one, you might feel lucky, you might have a decent roll on it. You're going to pick it up, you might use it, you might get a better roll the next one, you might get a shitter roll. My point here is that this rarity, and this gun specifically, is going to go from being a wowzer that you'll want to keep a shitty roll on it because, wow, it's rare, to you will discard 50 of them because it's not the roll that you want. Completely and humbly, in my opinion, butchering the entire point of Pearlescence in Borderlands 4. I'm not going to keep any more time. The one thing I will say is that I really, really hope that they revert this and completely remove 100% chance and just keep all 3 of our pearls, even in UVH6, at like a less than 1% chance or a 1% chance, because I'm really not a fan of one of them having a 7% chance and this one having a 100% chance. You know... Anyway, I'll leave it off there. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video. What hopefully won't be another rant.